The AAUW is an organization that you can be proud of, that you can be proud to be a member of.
It's just an amazing that you think in 1925, 5 women started this in order to help other women get through college.
I am so thankful to be a part of this organization. It's really nice to see the grit and determination that these individuals have had such a great impact in our local community. It's inspiring.
This isn't your grandma or your great-grandma's AAUW branch.
Hello, and thank you for participating in the American Association of University Women AAUW Centennial Oral History Project. Could you please tell us your name, how long you've been a member of the Middletown branch of AAUW, and a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name's Chris Buchert. I've been in AAUW twice. Once after I moved to Middletown in 1975, and then when I had 3 daughters, that was too much. So then I joined again later on when the girls were older. And so I think it's been about 20, 25 years.
My name is Marjorie Homan, or Margie, and I joined again AAW about 3 or 4 years ago.
I am Amanda Adkins-Ricci. I'm fairly new to the chapter. I have been attending events for about 4 years.
I'm Virginia Palmer. I've been a member of AAUW Middletown for 45 years.
My name is Carolyn Dell, that's D-E-L-L, Patrick. Really not that many years, I'd say maybe 4 at this point.
I'm Mel Orbis, and I've been a member since 2004, 2005 is about when I joined.
Hi, I'm Melissa Crabtree. I've been a member of the AAUW for a couple of years now, this is my 3rd year.
I'm Sharon Williamson, and I've been a member since 2009.
I'm Debbie Orbis, I'm Mel's mom, and I joined AAUW in 1986, I believe, 1986 or 87.
I'm a lifelong Middletonian. I was born here, raised here. I had moved away for a little bit, but I came back. So I'm very proud of my town. I'm very proud of the 100-year in Middletown for AAUW.
My grandmother was Mary Doty Dell, 6th generational from Daniel Doty, if anybody even knows who that is at this point, the first settler here. And so the history of the town has always been a big part of my life, and my grandmother wrote books on Middletown along with George Kraut. I live in Madison now because we had a horse farm, but I've lived in basically Middletown all my life.
I'm a retired librarian, and I probably would not have come to Middletown had it not been for AAUW. It's kind of an indirect story. You may or may not have already heard that back in the 1950s, early 50s, the Middletown AAUW was one of the driving forces behind bringing Miami University classes first to Middletown High School, and eventually that evolved into what became the Miami University Middletown campus. And the reason I say I wouldn't have come here had it not been for AAUW is that my first professional job as a librarian was as the public services librarian at Miami University Middletown. And that job found me. And I was very fortunate. I came here intending to stay 3 to 5 years, and that was 52 years ago. So AAUW Middletown means a lot to me.
I actually started by joining the book club before I was a member, and I was in the book club maybe 3 or 4 years, I think, before I joined AAUW. And it was a lot of fun. I got to know a lot of the ladies and thought it was a really congenial group, so I wanted to be part of them.
I work as a professional in healthcare and finance, and have really been excited to be a part of these women. Many of them are educators. I was actually a former educator as well. I started off my career very early on as an early childhood educator, and made the shift to healthcare finance, which was a big 180, but really appreciate all of the work that the women are doing that are a part of this chapter to advance women's equity, pay equity, access to education and leadership opportunities, which are all core fundamental values that I think we all have in common.
Currently, I'm a teacher at Madison Middle School, and It's good. I'm an intervention specialist. I'm also a multilingual language teacher as well, but not currently at that school. And growing up in Middletown since I was 6, I have 2 kids, and I love being part of AAUW.
I didn't know you could be a member with just an associate's degree or a 2-year degree. So I always assumed, even though I had enough credit hours, I could prove to them. Transferring schools twice kind of messed me up. But once I found out I could join with an associate degree, I was thrilled to get in.
I am a partially retired language teacher. I now work in Hamilton as an interpreter for the schools. So, I enjoy AAUW very much.
I obtained my Bachelor of Science in Nursing from Wright State University in 2009. And since then, I've been working as a nurse at Dayton Children's Hospital in the emergency department. I also have 2 children. I have a 10-year-old daughter and a 7-year-old son. We live in Franklin, and so I'm really happy to be a member of the Middletown branch of the AAUW.
In your own words, what is AAUW?
So in my own words, I would say AAUW is a collective group of individuals that are really looking to, as you mentioned earlier, advance opportunities for women and women's issues, such as pay equity, which has been something that the organization was really founded upon, and access to education. And that's been really important to me as well. I'm a first generation of my entire family to attend a university. And my family was raised here in Middletown. And so although I am not a resident of Middletown, coming back to these roots and seeing how these women have collectively advanced our community forward has been really inspiring.
To me, AAUW exists on 2 different levels. There's a national level and a local level. And nationally, the organization does a lot of good in terms of being an advocate for pay equity, women's education, causes that help make America more fair, especially for women, and has been doing that for 140 years. But on a local level, what I like is it's a congenial group of women who are interesting and committed to making the community better. And they're engaged in a lot of different projects, from book sales and holiday bazaars to bringing in speakers. And we've been doing that now for over 100 years and really making an impact on this community in a positive way.
For me, AAUW is about women empowerment and pushing for education and build civility in our society, because the more you promote education, the smarter people are, the knowledgeable they are, and that's very much an important piece of AAUW and women's rights. Really, it's just the embetterment of the community, and that, to me, with all the garage sales and sales that we do and programs that we've offered throughout the century, AAUW is about making Middletown better for this area.
Okay, well, I like AAUW because certainly it supports women's education, equity for women. Now more than ever, it also encourages diversity, which I think is very important. And in a lot of our activities, not only are we supporting those things, but our fundraisers support scholarships, but they also support recycling. So we're recycling books and other holiday decorations and all kinds of things from home. So we serve a lot of good purposes.
To me, the AAUW is a voice for girls and for women in a world that's really often loud and distracting. The AAUW provides a voice for girls and for women to promote education, educational opportunities, scholarships, to help advance them in the world and to help be the voice that shrinks that gender inequality gap.
It's a group of people who are very interested in making women's lives better, like equity to get equal pay for equal jobs. And I also think that when women are strong, then their families are stronger. So that's important to me.
To me, it's all about women, and especially young women. We really work for education because we also are about equality. And, you know, the amount of salary that women is making next to men used to be 83%, which was not acceptable, but it dropped to 81. And that's really, go downhill, it's really not acceptable. And I don't need to add that Black women and minorities and Latino women make lots less. So it's not right, it's not fair, and we'll work for it. We work to get better, and one way we do it is through education. And it's education, whether we send someone to school on a scholarship, and it's education at our programs, and it's education when I run into someone and give them the whole spiel.
Well, it's a national organization that has been around since 1888. That was formed to provide scholarship assistance to women in the late 1800s. And it's involved now in a lot of advocacy for women's issues, equal pay, educational opportunity, and that sort of thing. One of the things people may not know about AAUW is that they provided a grant way back to Marie Curie for her research in the area of physics. I don't know enough about science to be able to talk about it, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Middletown Branch contributed to some of that research. If they didn't contribute to that, we've been contributing to a lot of other research and educational opportunity for women in at least in our 100-year history.
How and why did you become involved in AAUW?
I got involved because I saw her being involved, and that's why I thought it'd be so neat to do the interview together, because I remember, I think it was 1989 when Middletown did their centennial, so I'm not sure if it was 89 or 88, and we got to be in the parade, and I thought that was so neat because at that time it was on Braille, going up to the high school for the All-American Weekend Festival, and we walked it, but also I would go with her on Saturdays to the kids' toilet library. The recycling at that time, they would have community members go out every so once a while to like Smith Park or something, and AAUW would have Saturdays. So we were there putting cans away, paper and things like that. And at that time, I remember Middletown Library and just in general was very much promoting recycling and reusing and things like that. And teaching, right? Seeing all these women who are business women and they're doing this stuff for the community. I wanted to be part of that, and I knew that from a young age. And I enjoyed it as soon as I finished college. One of my friends at the time, Chris Atkins, was involved, Susie Tadish, and I was like, I'm joining. I'm going to be a part of this. Since I'm living here, I might as well do it because I had expected to live somewhere else. But when I was living here, I was like, I'm definitely doing this.
I got involved because I was invited by a woman who had been a sixth grade teacher, not my sixth grade teacher, but a teacher when I was in sixth grade, and she knew who I was. I had just returned from living in Mexico for a while. So I got involved, and then I got very involved in the formation of the toy lending library that she remembers. So that was a big draw to me and to some of the other young mothers who were in the organization at the time.
I first became involved by joining the book club. I'm a big reader and I like to be with other people who like to discuss books. So after a couple of years of that and learning more about these women and the projects they were doing in the community, I thought, yeah, that's something I'd like to be a part of. And so I've gotten more and more deeply engaged over the years, and now have gone from enjoying the branch meetings to producing the newsletter and now working on this 100th anniversary project, which has been really enjoyable.
I was introduced to AAUW through a mutual member that I was connected with as we were both mentoring a young child that we were both involved with. So she was his former teacher, and we were just a neighbor who had grown to have a relationship with this young student and helped kind of mentor him along the way. And as our paths crossed, she found that we had a lot of similar values and looking to help further young individuals into accessing education and help mentor them along the way. And so she introduced me to AAUW. I came to my first meeting, and I was really impressed with the programs that the chapter had presented to these community individuals. They really create an environment of psychological safety. The programs were allowing individuals to ask questions without judgment, really to foster that curiosity and allow them to learn more about how they can have an impact. And that was really inspiring to me.
A couple of years ago, I was driving home from my daughter's soccer game, and I saw a sign on the road for a book sale. And being the avid reader that I am, also somebody that likes a good deal, I pulled over and stopped, and I walked into a pretty shabby looking building on the outside, but on the inside, I was immediately impressed and just blown away with how organized this book sale was, how many books they had. Every genre was clearly labeled. Everything was alphabetized. I was just truly impressed with this book sale. So after shopping the sale for an hour or two, and my kids picked out a bunch of children's books, I checked out, and I let the lady know who was checking me out that I was really impressed with the sale that they had put on and what it was for. And that's when she told me that it was the AAUW sale and that all of the money was going to scholarship funds, and just kind of gave me a little bit of a rundown of what the AAUW was, and provided me with a pamphlet where I could find more information. So when I got home, I looked up what the AAUW was, and I knew pretty much right away that it was an organization that I could support and that I really liked the mission of.
I think the first time I was trying to learn about Middletown and things I could do to contribute. And then the second time, I had more time that I could spend building up women and learning about women's rights and what they needed.
What brought you to Middletown?
Well, my husband grew up here, and then he studied to be a lawyer, and he brought me here with him when he got a job.
When I was working at Miami Middletown, there was a woman who many people will recognize her name, Claire Easton. She was the assistant executive director of the campus. And right away, she started encouraging me to join AAUW. Well, it took her 7 years to convince me. But along the way, I think I encountered AAUW. I remember being out at the old Middletown Shopping Center, and there was a table set up registering people to vote. And of course, I had just moved to Ohio from Michigan. And I thought, well, I need to register to vote, so I signed up. And I can't say for sure, but I suspect those were AAUW members. And then another time, I happened to be maybe at the same shopping center, and there was this great used book sale going on. And I thought, that looks like a cool group. And I'm sure that was AAUW. That was back in the days when they had to put the books outside in the morning and take them back in at night. And we've come a long way since then.
So why did you get involved?
I think I finally thought I need to be part of this group. And I'd met a lot of people who were already members. And after 7 years, the time just seemed right.
This time it was because my best friend was a member, and she was also very, very sick. So I rejoined to be able to help her with Zoom calls and take her to meetings and things like that. And then after she passed, I just stayed.
And why did you join the first time?
Well, I just thought it was a good thing, and I needed something besides working, taking care of kids, being married, and driving to Cincinnati. However, it didn't work, so something had to go, so AAUW went.
One of my friends since kindergarten was president at that time, and she was asking and pushing, literally pushing everybody she knew to join. And I was finally like, okay, I'm a joiner. I am always been involved, always been an activist, even from college on. But once I was able to meet the requirements, I was really happy to be able to get in, and all the projects and so forth that we've done are awesome. They really are fun, and we do so much good work.
what is an AAUW project or initiative that you have worked on that you're proud of?
There are a lot of things that we do that I'm proud of. The book sales in particular, I think, are important because not only are we raising money for scholarships for girls and women in the local community, but we are a source of wonderful, inexpensive books. And I love to promote literacy and reading. The book sale is a win-win. We have a lot of fun with that. One that I've been really more involved with, especially in the last year, is the 100th anniversary of the branch. And that has been so interesting to find out more about our legacy in the Middletown area. I went through dozens and dozens of Middletown Journal archive articles, and I'm looking back and seeing what the branch was discussing in 1930 and who they invited in to speak in the 1940s, and a radio play they put on in the 1950s, and environmentally they were engaged in the 60s. So decade after decade, they've been doing important and interesting work in the Middletown community. And not only AAUW, but what came out of that newspaper research was how many other women's groups in the community were doing the same thing. Phi Beta Psi and lots of different ones, a lot of church organizations. So Middletown has benefited from this variety of deep community involvement that, it's been interesting to be a witness to history.
I think I've worked a lot on our sales programs like the book sale and the garage sale and the holiday sale because I think it's so important to get scholarship money for young people. So I think that's the most important.
Can you talk a little bit about the garage sale?
Yes. I've been one of the chairmen for the garage sale lately, and that's been fun because we get so many donations from community members. And sometimes you don't even know what they are. Then you have to figure out what they're bringing. I think that's one of the exciting parts. We earn quite a bit of money from the garage sale for our scholarships for high school.
And when is the garage sale?
When is it? It's generally the beginning of June.
Well, for me, certainly the toy lending library was one. But also the scholarships, because in addition to college scholarships, we also sponsor girls for the Be Wise Summer Science and Math Camp. And so that's, it's exciting to see the girls come back all excited about the different science experiments that they've done there. And some of the things, specifics I don't remember, but just knowing that in addition to the local impact that Melissa has mentioned, part of what we raise goes to help women on a national or even international level. Mm-hmm. So we're sponsoring women's rights, women research, and all of that feels very good.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to me to be part of that. I mentioned the local is very important to me. I just recently had a student who was part of the Be Wise camp, and she was just enthralled by all the knowledge she was gaining from this. And I remember when Science is Fun camp and things like that, when I was growing up, I knew a lot of the ladies or maybe their husbands were part of that Science is Fun camp. And so I was like, well, these are people I want to be like when I grow up, right? And I knew the outreach that AAUW has at an international level. I remember we had somebody come and talk who was working in a doctorate program from Afghanistan or Mongolia. It's been a while, sorry, but I thought that was so neat to meet somebody internationally who was impacted by AAUW and the research she was trying to do in an area that when she was talking about it was saying it no longer has the power that women had at one time, but here she was trying to make a difference. I'm like, yes, that's what AAUW is about, empowering the people and to be people, right, who are working with each other. And like she pointed out earlier, diversity. So while there isn't necessarily a program I'm like, oh, this is what I read, I just love the whole concept of AAUW and that we're doing something here at the local level, affecting people that we see daily, but then knowing that some of the money we put toward it or programs we try to be part of are helping nationally and internationally show how powerful women can be.
Another international aspect was that I think we would have been involved anyway, but AAUW was very much involved with MIDFest and had a lounge. And so the MIDFest work was another aspect that we really enjoyed. And
I grew up with that.
my children always said that MIDFest was the best thing about Middletown. So,
Yeah.
Well, there are a lot. The book sale, of course, is one that I can't imagine there'll be one of these interviews where somebody doesn't mention the book sale. Because we do it to raise money to give away for scholarships. And nothing can beat that feeling. But one of the things that I did in the branch was that I wanted to have a book club before Oprah thought of it. And there wasn't a literature discussion group already established that had been around for a long time, but they were the kind of group that picked a book and one person gave like a book report, a book talk. And I wanted the kind of book discussion group where everybody reads the book and we get together and talk about it. So in 1991, I started it. My son was in kindergarten. And he had a milestone birthday this year, let me say. We've been going ever since. The book, I'm not coordinating the book club anymore. We'll talk to the person who is, I think, in a couple of days. And we call it the Joy Luck Book Discussion Group because our first book was Amy Tan's Joy Luck Club. And one of the people who was going to come to that first meeting wrote on her calendar, Joy Luck Club. And it stuck. And we're still the Joy Luck Club, and we've been going now for 40-some years.
And what kind of books do you guys read?
We read predominantly women authors, not exclusively, but predominantly. And it's a mixture of fiction and nonfiction. Back when we started in 1991, of course, I would check for availability. So I would check availability in libraries and whether or not it was available in paperback. Now there's a whole new realm. Is it on Libby? Is it on Kindle? But the books aren't as hard to find anymore. So, but we read predominantly fiction and nonfiction, and predominantly women authors. The other thing that happened in the Joy Luck Club is that one night after we'd been going for several years and such things had become kind of part of the information culture, they said, "Oh, Jenny, we need a website, ha ha ha." Well, I said, okay. So we started with a website just for the book club. Then that evolved into having a website for the branch. And eventually, the National Association put together an infrastructure whereby our websites are all now kind of under the umbrella of the national organization. But at the time that we started it, I used a site that's no longer available called Org Sites. And I also recommended that to a lot of my nonprofit clients when I worked at Dayton Metro Library.
Being a newer member, I haven't had any specific projects myself that I've worked on, but I have helped with the different sales throughout the last couple of years, the rummage sale, the book sale, and our Christmas sale. So I help out where I can. I'm organizing for the sale and then working the sales. And then more recently with our 100-year celebration that's coming up this year, I've had the opportunity to help out a little bit with our wine night that we're having with our 1920s themed wine party that we're going to be having.
You want to talk a little bit more about that wine night?
Yeah, so we're having a 1920s themed party at Central Wine, I believe is what it's called, here in Middletown. And everybody is welcome to dress up. And it's just a night where we are going to celebrate the 100-year anniversary of the Middletown Branch and get together and just have a really good time celebrating.
I'm fairly new to the chapter, so I haven't had an opportunity to be involved in a lot of projects, but I was asked to step up into a leadership role. So I am currently the president-elect for the chapter, which is really exciting to me. Hopefully I'm able to encourage additional membership from a younger generation of members in the community and help show that you can be a leader within this wonderful established group of women. And we do have something fun that we have been doing as a recent project, just a celebration for the 100th year celebration for our branch chapter. We are doing a fun speakeasy night here locally in Middletown, and that's really giving us an opportunity to support a local business as well that's a women-owned business, and hopefully shine a little bit of light on a community gem that we found here while having some fun as well.
So what are your responsibilities as president-elect?
So our responsibilities as president-elect is really to learn everything from our current president and really lead this chapter forward to make sure that we are living out the mission, having that community impact, and continuing the legacy for years to come. So we really want to make sure that we grow our endowment fund so that we are able to continue to offer scholarships to local students for years and years to come, hopefully for the next 100 years plus.
It has to be the 100-year project. I became president just to do the 100-year project. Like I said, I'm a full-time, lived in Middletown all my life, and it just staggered me that we've been here 100 years where other big chapters are closing left and right. So we're here, we're strong, and I just wanted to celebrate that. I wanted to celebrate the 12 women that started AAUW in Middletown and figure out, who they were and, and all that stuff. And I wanted to celebrate it, and we are. It's a year-long project.
Right now, we're having one of our 3 annual sales, and I always work, and when the people come, I check them out, that I'm conversational, as you can tell. So anyway, I get up and walk around and even ask them if they need anything, and are they aware of, people come for years and years, have no idea what AAUW stands for. So I think it's important to walk around and talk to people as they're shopping for books and just say, are you aware? And can I tell you a little bit about it? And then I try to get people to join.
So what are some other projects you guys work on? You mentioned a few.
Well, we have, really interesting speakers or events at our meetings. So that is fun. And I actually was one of the persons who gave a whole spiel. It's a Be Smart program about how to store guns safely. So I was a presenter at one of the meetings myself. So that was fun too. Got to spread the word of something I'm passionate about.
What advice would you give to a future AAUW member?
Come and see who we are. See what you believe. All members are not all one way. We're not on one side of a political party and not on the other. It doesn't have anything to do with that. It does have to do with women and girls and grandkids and, all the way down the line. And also men. We have had men members who believe in women and that sounds funny, but believe in women and what they do. And my dad wasn't an AAU member, but he had 4 girls and he believed in women's rights.
If they're interested in building up women, that this is a good organization. Also because it's so educational, we have great programs, and I learned so much from those too.
To a future member, I would really say get involved. It can sometimes be scary when you're coming in and you don't know any of these individuals that you're connecting with. But if you just reach out, they are so welcoming. I have felt so embraced by this group of ladies. They really are just like a warm hug, and they have been so wonderful to encourage you and support you in many different ways. So just don't be afraid to get involved and invite other people that you think would be beneficial or that you think would have benefit from joining the association as well.
get to know people and get involved in some aspect of it that most interests you. We have a book club, we have a writers group. At different times there have been different interest groups. Form your own interest group, but find a way to get involved, because that's when you really enjoy it. There are a lot of very interesting women who have interesting lives, and you get to know them by being involved and working with them.
Yeah, I mean, been a diversity chair and president and programming board, and we've done different things like that. So I've enjoyed when we go to museum trips, getting to know people that way, or going to dinners to try out different restaurants, or going to different religious facilities and things, learning more about that culture that comes with it, and the impact it has to the area and internationally as well. And knowing that I'm doing it with this group, this organization that isn't all just teachers, isn't just all business women, it isn't just all Protestant Christians or Roman Catholics or Jewish, right? All these people are very different, and they're impacting the community and impacting me.
And it's been stimulating to go to a few, I haven't attended that many, but a few of the state conferences, because the women there are so involved, and just it's nice to work with other feminists, and it's inspiring to meet these people. Also, I might say to people who are thinking about joining, as an individual, sometimes it's very frustrating to think, how can I affect this, or how can I change or resist? But when you're part of a larger organization, especially that's not just local, but state and national, you feel a little bit more optimistic about maybe having some impact on things that are happening in the world.
They can even give you guidance on what things to say when you're trying to call, or see what research they've done. So being a member kind of gives you that opportunity to look up the resources they have too. But it definitely makes you feel more like you're not alone.
Don't be shy. Don't wait 7 years. When someone invites you, don't wait 7 years to go to your first meeting, and get involved. It's hard to really be part of a group unless you're involved in something. And the great thing about our branch is that we do so many different things that you can decide where your niche is. Maybe you're really good at sorting books and that sort of thing. Maybe you'd rather work on a committee or be an officer, but don't be shy about participating.
Don't just be a member. Attend the meetings, sign up to do things. We always have projects and so forth going on. And, dive right in, get involved from the start. It'll be fun.
In terms of joining AAUW, I think the organization's ready to meet anybody at whatever level of involvement they care to have. So if you are a busy person, you're raising a family, and you can attend some branch meetings, occasionally, a couple times throughout the year, that's great. We'd love to have you. And if you are in a position in your life when you have more time to give and more effort, then we can absolutely put you to good use. We do a lot of fundraising efforts throughout the year, and there are other cultural activities and programs to celebrate diversity. We're involved in a lot of different things. So it can give you as much as you want to give it in terms of time. So I'd say explore it, see what works for you, and then over time, I bet that you'll become more and more involved.
Is there a specific AAUW memory you'd like to share, or a specific member, past or current, you'd like to call out?
A memory for me was probably one of my first meetings that I attended. The program just really impressed me. I had walked into this chapter of this diverse group of ladies who had a speaker who was addressing, and this was about 4 years ago, so still, not that long ago, but they were addressing the use of pronouns and gender identity. And the room was so curious and respectful and really wanting to know more about how they can support our community members, how they can take this message forward to their family members, their other community members, and just the way that these individuals were addressing something that was new to many of them in such an open and accepting way really made a profound impact. And that was the day that I actually decided I was going to become a full member and stop attending just as a guest.
Everybody who's just helped to make me feel special, who's make me feel like I have found my people. It's difficult sometimes in the world that we live in to really find people who share the same values as you, that share the same thoughts about the world and the way they see the world. The AAUW is a place that I've found personally where I feel like I belong, where I feel like I share those same values with all of the members. So really everybody that's just made me feel special and comfortable and like I've found my people.
One of the other memories that I have, that as I was thinking about this conversation, was when we partnered with the Middletown Journal, the precursor to the Journal News, and wrote biographical sketches during Women's History Month of prominent women prominent and also just everyday women in the Middletown area. And we wrote those columns probably for a couple of years. And then eventually they were compiled, and I'm sure you have a copy of this book. We had a big gala to unveil the book, and there are still people who say, how can I get a copy of that book? So that's something that I think we're particularly proud of, is having written those columns, and some of us were actually featured in those columns, and it was a pretty special project.
It's a wonderful resource. I've used it many times.
Good, I'm glad to hear that.
There are a lot of outstanding women that I've met through this. So I don't know that I would choose just one. Maybe some other people have highlighted people. I've met a lot of women who inspire me.
Yeah, I mean, just some of the people I think of recently. Tina Newland passed away. Rose Grau has recently moved, but she was very involved in the community. Chris Buchert, I've seen her and been mentored by her as a person. Katie McNeil, through this and things, Mom being involved with her, I got into her Girl Scout troop, and I went a lot of places with her and got to see that she's quite a powerhouse person to make decisions. She was on the Middletown board, and just knowing her through different things was very impressive. Some of the people I've known in the past that have involved. Betty Croswell was a member for a little while, wasn't she, when you first started? And she was someone who I thought I respected. There's been a lot of amazing people.
When we first moved here, Claire Easton, who was very important at Miami Middletown, was one of the leaders. And I don't know whether I would have gotten to meet Claire otherwise. And some other people like that. Virginia, who was in charge of Midfest. And so a lot of interesting people.
I actually got to do a presentation along with two other people. That was a highlight, and it was like doing it for your friends, but also still spreading a message, like I said, that's real important. So that was one of the highlights for me, for sure.
My friend who was so sick, and the first Zoom call I was on with her, she was sitting in the dark, just sitting there in the dark with Zoom on, but she didn't want anyone to see her. And after a while, she turned the light on. And I think that is a good for AAUW. Come and we'll turn the light on.
I think just getting to know lots of people, strong women who have so many different interests. So it's meeting them and seeing them, and now younger people are coming in, and I think that's been really exciting. So that's a good memory.
Do you have a favorite past member or current member?
Both my sister and sister-in-law have joined since I haven't. That's been great.
In part of my research on the 100th anniversary of our branch, I was fortunate enough to be able to go through scrapbooks at the Middletown Historical Society. And some of them go back to the 1930s. They're kind of fragile, but you really get a front seat at history when you see photographs and programs from events that were put on. And when I get into the 1960s and the 70s, I'm seeing the photographs of members we still have who were in their 20s and 30s when they first got involved. And it's just very moving to me to see that people have been involved for decades, and how, you know, they have maybe aged over time, but their enthusiasm hasn't. It's remained strong, and they're just as engaged in the book sale as they were in 1975. And that's just kind of, and then of course there are people who we've lost over the years who were dear friends, and it's nice to see their faces too. So there's a real legacy or continuity of effort and fellowship that's happened through the organization.
What do you hope for the future of AAUW, specifically the Middletown branch?
My hope for the future of the Middletown AAUW branch is that it continues to grow, that we continue to bring in newer members, younger members, more diversity to the group, so that it can be more representative of the people of Middletown. I hope that the goals of the AAUW continue to be met going forward in the future. Hopefully there will come a day when we don't need the AAUW, but I think we'll always need it to be able to look back and remember where we were and where we are now, and to just always put the educational needs of women and girls first.
I hope we can continue strong for a long time. Our sales are here to provide scholarship money in perpetuity. I don't think I said that right, but to go on forever. So we've been really concentrating on that. So I think even if our branch isn't around anymore, AAUW will be known for giving money to young women to continue their education.
I want to see it grow. When I joined 4 years ago, it was 99% old ladies, and trying to recruit. The next generations have not been joiners of anything, you know, other than online or something like that. And to, you know, bring in young blood is my number one priority right now, and grow it and keep it as vibrant and exciting as it's been, and not lose the wonderful things we do. And I'm very pro-education, and so that's the number one thing that I think is important for every woman, to have a better life.
I hope that the branch continues to grow, that we get some new life and additional members in. I love our members that we have today, but it's always exciting to see new young individuals come in. A lot of the students that have benefited from the scholarships that we've provided, would love to see them as they grow into their careers, become members, and continue that legacy for 100 more years within our community.
That we last. And that is not a guarantee with anything, that it goes on. I think we got a ways to go. I heard that at our going weight, it would be something like, what was it? It was like 2068 before we get to equality, or something like that. That's not a precise, but a long way off with our going weight. And, you know, you're talking about your grandkids' kids and on up. And it's like, it hurts society, it hurts men too. You know, you may learn to change your diapers, but, you know, there might be some benefit for doing that, you know. So, I'm teasing, you know that. Okay.
That it continues to exist, that it stay active. Around the state, some of the branches that used to exist have no longer operate, and because we do hold Zoom, we hold meetings in person, but we offer them on Zoom as well. Some people from other branches who are out of town have joined so that they can stay in touch with AAUW. So we hope, and then we are contributing to our endowment fund so that even if we aren't able to have successful sales all of the time, that we'll be able to continue to offer scholarships.
Which is the biggest piece to me, is that trying to build out endowment so it becomes something that can last as a true, what's the word I'm looking for?
contribution?
Yeah, just a contribution of that's life, more than lifelong, right? It's
legacy.
Legacy. Yes, thank you. Definitely a legacy.
I hope there's a bicentennial. I've had two terms as president, one in the early, a 1-year term in the early 80s and a 2-year term more recently. And in that 2-year term was 10 years ago because we were celebrating the 90th anniversary. And we thought that was something. But now to be to the 100th, I think that shows that there is some sustainability to the organization. This isn't your grandma or your great-grandma's AAUW branch.
What I'm hoping we can do in the future is sustain and grow our membership. Groups like this play an important role in the community and in women's lives. In larger cities, there are so many competing interests, and people are so stretched in terms of having longer commutes, and everyone, of course, is busy raising a family, so it's hard to get people engaged in things. We've been able to engage a variety of different ages here in Middletown, and we're very excited about getting younger members involved, and they seem enthusiastic too. What I would hope is that would continue. We've been able to get members from a wider area than just Middletown because some of the branches in the larger cities around us have gone out of existence. And we say, come on, we'd love to have you part of this. So we have people from Mason and Westchester and probably the south suburbs of Dayton. I know in Dayton, I'm in Dayton now. I used to live in Middletown because the friendships that you form, you just want to continue that. And this is an easy way to keep in touch with people who are of a like mind.
I'm a very proud member of the AAUW branch.
I think it's been a fun organization as well as an educational one because I've made lots of new friends there, and that's one of the best things, having a support group around you.
It feels good to be working on something other than going to work every day. You can do that and this too. We have plenty of women with children and going to work and work full time, and we take what time they can give us. If you're with us and you're a member, then we can adapt to individuals. Believe me, we're not all the same. A lot of us have gray hairs, but we're working on changing that.
I'm so thankful to be a part of this organization. It's really nice to see the grit and determination that these individuals have had such a great impact in our local community. It's inspiring.
Well, one thing I would like to add is we really appreciate all the help that the MIdPointe Library System has given to this project. I mean, there's a lot of enthusiasm for celebrating this milestone in the community, and you all have been great partners to us in helping get us our archives in order and doing video oral history and with the makerspace, printing things out. So it's been a really good partnership and we really appreciate it.
Well, we really appreciate you and thank you for your time.